Let's take a break from middling malls, struggling malls, and dead malls alike. Let's take a look at the opposite end of the spectrum. This is the fashion mall at Keystone, Indiana's best. And before we go further, I must specify that this is not a dead mall. We'll see who's paying attention later on. The fashion mall originally started out rather small at a measly 50,000 square feet in 1973. Do you know Simon Property Group? Not only do they own this mall, but if you trace the ownership back, technically they also developed the mall. Back then, they were known as Melvin Simon & Associates. Now, a lot of things have changed and the company is very different today. The mall also served as a companion to the now forgotten bazaar at the crossings, which was described as a labyrinth-like multi-floor mall. And at the cost of going off topic, my knowledge of bazaars are rather limited since I've never actually been to one, but from what I've heard, not only is the merchandise sold there all over the place, but the transactions themselves get rather bizarre. Can anyone tell me their experience of a bazaar if they have had one? Getting back on track, the fashion mall would cater to the more upscale and high-end markets of Indianapolis, with Jacobson's serving as a primary anchor, later on joined by Parisian. Jacobson's was said to be the only store of its type in Indiana. Now, while there are a lot of newspapers over the years that mention the mall, there isn't actually a ton of information about the mall's early life beyond various shows, sales, and events hosted at the fashion mall, ranging from artists doing paintings at the mall to dance flings serving as benefit programs. Much of the mall's middle life isn't easy to track, but the simplified version shows that the mall was popular and was held to a rather high standard. The bazaar, however, lost traction in the 80s and would eventually be demolished around 1985. Though in 1988, the fashion mall made a gradual transition towards specialty shops as it underwent renovation and expansions, bringing in new stores like Eddie Bauer, Ann Taylor, and Banana Republic. The mall would even bring in a food court which, despite the mall's upscale atmosphere, was more tamed with egg rolls and pizza, according to the paper. Now, around this same time, Melvin Simon & Associates was underway with the Circle Center Mall downtown, which led to speculations on whether the two malls could coexist. Be patient, I'll get to that. Although the fashion mall was also competing indirectly with Castleton Square Mall just a few exits away, those two did manage to complement one another. Circle Center Mall, however, was aiming for a similar upscale market that the fashion mall was already catering to. Now, to cut a long story short, Circle Center Mall is struggling rather hard right now, while Fashion Mall at Keystone has, well, never been better. Though the anchor situation does get a little bit messy. The only original anchors I could find details for was Jacobson's and Parisian. Parisian actually operated 2 stores, one at the Fashion Mall and the other at Circle Center. Jacobson's would get replaced by Saks Fifth Avenue in 2002, while Parisian would close due to Belk's acquisition of them, and they would get replaced by Nordstrom in 2008. 2005 and 2006 would also see Crate & Barrel and Tiffany & Co. open respectively. Those names are nothing to sneeze at, even if I am too poor for that type of fashion and knickknacks. In fact, I often joke about feeling out of place in fashion malls like these. And to reiterate a previous point, dead malls don't exactly have Apple stores. Couple that with all the businesses and offices and upscale restaurants alike around the mall, and it looks like things are A-OK for the fashion mall at Keystone. For now, at least. Something I learned in Indianapolis: wearing a Three Stooges shirt is apparently a crowd pleaser. I will say, in touring this mall, I did find that it has a very interesting layout, with parts of it being 2 floors and other parts being 1 floor. And in fact, there's a part of the mall that crosses over the Keystone Crossing Road, and it's done discreetly enough that you probably don't really think about a road going beneath your feet. Also, this mall may have started out small, but it's pretty damn big nowadays. And as for the mall's overall look, while I can't say it's my favorite, it at least has some things going on. All 3 of the main courts have a neat looking arrangement in their skylights, with the food court one being the most prominent, and it isn't just white paint and white tile throughout. Okay, there's still a lot of it. And the seating arrangement by Pottery Barn does stand out a little bit more. Again, it's not my favorite mall aesthetically, but it's pleasant enough to be around. Contrast that to anything renovated by Hull Property Group, or worse, Cafaro. Now, if Keystone Fashion Mall doesn't have what you're looking for, take a look around the immediate area, because this area is a hot spot for physical retail. If you go eastbound, you have a number of shopping centers, strip malls, commons, etc. with a ton of stores and restaurants to go to, and in fact, it's reported that you have an unbroken retail corridor that connects the Fashion Mall to Castleton Square. And it kinda does make sense, actually. Some of the newspapers I read into while researching would point out how there are tens of thousands of people living within just a few miles of the Fashion Mall, with hundreds of thousands more being within, let's say, a 10-mile radius of here. While Indianapolis as a whole has some real problems today, the north side appears to at least be holding steady. We still have a few minutes. Let me ask, what is life like in Indianapolis? Because I don't hear too much about it other than the Speedway. Now, there are many cities that are easy to throw blind praise at, and then others that are very easy to mock, much to the chagrin of those who still live there. Now, my experience in Indianapolis, while limited, it was nothing really bad. Well, besides all the interior freeways being closed for rebuilding, and that seems to be following me everywhere nowadays. And also, I've already been to your deadest malls, which were perceived as being in the worst parts of the city, and on paper, Indianapolis as a whole is a bit all over the place. It's got some great things and it's got some terrible things. But I want the locals' input. What is life like out here? I apologize for running out of things to say, but that just happens with large malls like these, so bear with me. Well, we are getting ready to wind down and head out, and unless someone knows of another mall I didn't already cover, I do have one more stop in Indianapolis that awaits the editing room. The only issue is, that is the Greenwood Park Mall, which had a major incident, which I will have to talk about. I'm not looking forward to it, but I guess I'll stir that pot when I get to it. As for the fashion mall at Keystone, what did you think about this place? Do you come here often? Anyone remember the bazaar? Do share in the comments below, because I do like some stories every once in a while. Until next time, Indianapolis, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you, and the fashion mall at Keystone, farewell, and good luck in the future. Did you know that, contrary to popular belief, my footage is not recorded 2 weeks before upload?